Hi, this is Sarah Young from marketingwithsarah.com. A number of my students and subscribers told me that they suffer from a huge and common problem. They were overwhelmed, and because of this feeling of being overwhelmed, they lost focus and started to skip from one strategy to the next. So we discussed it in one of our webinars, and I showed my own personal methods of how to overcome this feeling of overwhelm and finally start making money online. So here is that section of the webinar. Take a look. There was one question that came up over and over again in different variations. That question, interestingly enough, is how do I stop feeling overwhelmed, stop skipping from one strategy to the next, and finally start making money? If you feel that that question is relevant to you, I want you to know that you're not alone because so many people ask me this question. And in fact, I remember being in this situation myself, and I know what it's like. And I think everybody goes through this phase, and the trick is to get out of it and start finally making money. So what I want to do is because this is the question that came up over and over and over again, I'm going to talk about this. Now, what I'm going to do here, as opposed to every other webinar that I've done, I think, I'm not going to tell you what to do. Not when I'm answering this question, maybe when I'm answering other questions. I'm not going to tell you a specific strategy to follow. Yeah, but what I'm going to do is just give you general guidelines on what to do once you do have a strategy that you want to follow. So it's not going to be like, follow my strategy of whatever it is, SEO or affiliate marketing, whatever I want my strategy to be, whatever I am doing online. It's more going to be general guidelines on what to do based on what I've been through. I mean, I've gotten over this stage and have thankfully seen success. I have friends who have seen success who are my friends online, and they have made money in different ways and been successful online in different ways. And I've seen my students as well, and there are some common things that you could basically say about all the successful people. Those are the things that I want to share with you, and hopefully it will help you, and it'll help you get out of this rut of just being overwhelmed and not knowing exactly what to do. And for that reason, skipping from one strategy to the next and actually start making money. To answer this question, how to stop feeling overwhelmed, stop skipping from one strategy to the next, and finally start making money. We've got a really big problem in the internet marketing world, and that is that uh, there are a few factors all joined together give you this feeling of being overwhelmed. Excuse me, I've got to take care of this just a second. My screen, apologize for this, my screen turns kind of orange at night on purpose, so it doesn't affect my sleep. And I've got to disable that. I don't want you to see here. Okay, you should see my screen well. Okay, so back to what I was saying, and sorry for that. So we've got this problem in internet marketing where things are very chaotic. There are so many different strategies, so many different things that you can do. And all you want to do is make money online, right? But there's so many different ways to do it. And you've got all these people telling you, do it my way, do it my way, no, do it my way. And it's very hard to know what is the right way. And now you take that and you add to that the fact that many people who want to make money online are kind of desperate. Usually you need the money right away and you don't have months and months and months to put into it. That kind of gives a very, very overwhelmed and very frustrated feeling. And what happens to most people is this: they hear about this really great strategy that's supposed to be very easy to do and bring very fast results. Tell me if this has happened to you, right? You hear about this strategy, it's supposed to be really easy, bring you very fast results. You try it out, something happens, it doesn't really give you those fast and easy results, and then you say, well, maybe this is not for me. Maybe this doesn't really work. Maybe it's a scam. Maybe the person who is teaching this is just teaching it but not really doing it. How do I know this really works? How do I know this is going to happen to me? And then as you're thinking that, an email pops up in your inbox about another really, really good strategy that's fast and easy. And then you start doing that, and then you're like, okay, maybe I'll do this. And then when that doesn't come as easy as and as fast, you're like, should I do the previous one or should I do this one? And what method do I want to follow? And then the next email comes up in your mailbox, and you're thinking to yourself, okay, this is the thing that's really going to work for me. So, okay, so I'm getting a lot of messages saying yes, guilty, yeah, okay, happens all the time. All right. Yeah, thanks for responding there. It kind of helps when I get responses from people. Okay. Now, I am also, in addition to the yeses, I have people here on the Q&A session who are in my Income Steps Academy course and are asking me questions about that. Don't. We have our own Q&As, and I'm not going to reveal all the Income Steps Academy secrets in this webinar, so I'm not going to be answering any Income Steps Academy questions. We have the help desk where I can answer your questions, and if for some reason you want a personal response from me and you're getting a response from my assistant or something like that, you want to talk to me, just this is for my students in Income Steps Academy. Just ask for me. I will answer. I will respond, and I'm there for you also in the Q&A sessions for that. Okay, so no Income Steps Academy questions for this webinar. Sorry. Okay, so yeah, so a lot of people are seeing the same situation, experiencing the same situation, and all you want to do is start making money. So for those of you who are in my Income Steps Academy course, you may have seen what I'm going to say now. It's not a bad idea to see it again because it's cool, it works, and it will help you and refresh your memory. What I'm going to show you is something very interesting. This feeling of being overwhelmed and skipping from one strategy to the next is very common in internet marketing, but not just. It's common in other areas as well. Anybody who's overweight and has tried to lose weight, or people who just want to become fit, um, or there's just so many other things in the world that we want to master, we want to get good at, and we skip from one strategy to the next. And I'm guilty of doing that myself, both in internet marketing when I started out, and also losing weight, which is something that I'm always working on. So those are my own experiences, but there are others, right? And this happens in everything that we are desperate to do, we want to do, and there's just so many different ways of doing it. So what I want to recommend is a book, and this book is called Mastery. This is a book that I read really not too long ago, and I loved what it said. And when I read it, I said, bingo, that's it. That's what people need to know in order to finally be successful online, and not just online, be successful in anything. The person who wrote this wrote it about how to be successful in martial arts, and then generalized it basically. That was how he started in martial arts, and he generalized it. And it's so correct for internet marketing. And I just want to give you a quick summary of what he says here, and hopefully that will help you out. Okay, so before we talk about what George Leonard in Mastery says, before we talk about that, what I want you to do is first pick one thing that you want to do. That you must do that, all right? Pick one thing that you're going to do. Now, I had a webinar like this with my subscribers about a year ago where I just went through everything on internet marketing and I said what works. And what I'm going to do when I publish the replay for this webinar is put a link below the replay that links to the video from last year where you can see all the things in internet marketing that work. And what you need to do is pick one, and you have to make sure that you know somebody who's successful in it that you can have access to. So either you buy their course or you get mentoring or training from them, or even free. Sometimes you can find people like that in forums. So what you need to do is pick one thing and then decide I'm going to stick with it. And it has to be something that you know works and that you have access to somebody who can help you with. Okay, so those are the two assumptions that I'm going to make before I teach you what I learned in Mastery. One, that you have something that you know works because you know somebody who's successful in it. You have to do your research for that, and you can also watch the video from last year. And two, that you have access to somebody that you can ask for help, somebody successful that you can ask their help, okay? Once you got those two things, I want you to pay attention really well to what I'm going to say now. There are normally three types of people and three different ways to approach success. The first one is what George Leonard calls the dabbler. The dabbler is kind of what we talked about, right? You start over here and you hear about something that is making money fast and easy, and you start doing it, and you maybe even see a few dollars, but you sort of hit a little obstacle here. See how the graph goes up? Things are getting better, and then you hit a little obstacle, things are getting worse a little bit, and so you quit, okay? And then you start something new, and you work on it a little bit, see a little bit of success, then the first obstacle, you quit. And again, over and over again. You see a little bit success, and at the first obstacle, you quit. That is the dabbler. That is what we were talking about when we said that it's very common for people to start with a method and then dabble in it a little bit, try it, and then as soon as something comes up, quit and then try something else that sounds so shiny and so fast and easy. That's what George Leonard calls the dabbler. Now, I think in internet marketing, most people are dabblers. Okay, would you consider yourself a dabbler? If you would consider yourself a dabbler, type yes in the questions box. Okay, cool. Now, Henrietta is one of my students. She said, this book has been a big help to me in my life. I'm so happy I read it. Right. Yeah, okay. So definitely a dabbler. A lot of people here are saying dabbler, dabbler. Okay, let's take a look at the other ones. We've got the obsessive. Obsessive means an obsessive person starts on something, sees some success, and then there's an obstacle, but they keep at it. And what they do is they become really, really obsessive about following that method. And they put in a crazy amount of energy, pushing themselves beyond what they, beyond what's humanly possible. They work many hours, and I've actually seen people do that in internet marketing as well. So they forget everything else and they become obsessed with whatever internet marketing strategy they're doing, and they'll spend hours and hours and hours being obsessed with it, trying to get their blog to be perfect, trying to, figure out every little detail, and they become really obsessed with it until they just lose strength and they give up. And a lot of times when it comes to internet marketing, this obsessiveness can be spending a lot of money or spending many, 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 many hours on something beyond what's possible, like staying up really, really late at night, and many, many nights in a row until you give up and you say, you're just so exhausted, you're ignoring your family, or you spent too much money and then you give up. So let's see who here thinks that they've been obsessive or might be obsessive sometimes in internet marketing. So we've actually got some yeses here. That's me for sure. I've got that side as well. Yeah, we're not always the same type. Sometimes we could be a dabbler, and then other times we can be obsessive, and we can also sometimes be a dabbler in one part of our lives and obsessive in a different part of our lives. Then there's the third part, that is the hacker. The hacker is very interesting. What happens with a hacker is they start like everybody else, learning something new. They do well, they actually learn something new, they become better. There's a little bit of an obstacle, but that's okay. They keep going. Then they do a little bit better, and then they're like, oh, that's interesting, that cool, that worked, and they stay at this level forever. I've seen that happen also with internet marketers. I've seen that happen quite a lot where people, and it surprised me, where people They found my instructions, they made some money, they made maybe a little bit more money, and I said, hey, cool, that's interesting, that works, and then they disappeared. They're like kind of happy with where they're at, or kind of got bored of it and just stayed where they were at and maybe moved on to something else, but they didn't build on that. Anybody sees themselves as a hacker sometimes? Yes. Okay, so we had a lot of dabblers. We had a good amount of obsessive people also here, and very few hackers, actually. That's very interesting. Okay, so what George Leonard says is that the best thing you can do for yourself is identify what kind of person you are. Are you a dabbler? Are you obsessive? Are you a hacker? Once you identify what kind of person you are, or at least what it is that you're doing right now in internet marketing, what you should be doing is focus on what he calls the mastery curve. This is the mastery curve, and this is how things work in life and in internet marketing as well. And what you see here, this is a person who's becoming a master, and what you see here is somebody starting out, they learn a skill, and then they sort of plateau for a while, and then they learn another skill, and they plateau for a while, they learn another skill, they plateau for a while, kind of thing. When you're done, I mean, you're never really done with the curve, but at one point you can call yourself successful. Right, depending on what your financial goals are. So, this could be $10 a month, it could be $100 a month, it could be $1,000 a month, and so forth. Uh, and what happens is in between those plateaus, you're learning a new skill. And that's why you're plateauing, because you're figuring out this new skill. And what I want you to know is that when people who do training like me and people that I work with who come out with training products, we do our best to make it as easy for students as possible, right? I mean, that's what I work on when I come up with a new product, when we do training. The main thing that I work on, that a lot of my time is spent trying to take the complex process and break it down into very simple processes to make it as easy and as fast as possible. But what you need to understand is that there is no magic. So there's nothing that you're going to do that is going to make you $5,000 a month right away. And it's so funny because when I do webinars, I often ask people, how much money do you want to make in the short term? Just what's going to make you happy and show you that you're making progress. And a lot of times I get people telling me that they want to make $5,000 a month, $10,000 a month. And that's just not possible in anything. And I don't care what gurus say about how a newbie went from nothing to $50,000 a month. These things they don't happen, and and I don't believe it. Okay, I don't think I've ever said anything like that because it just doesn't happen, because you have to learn skills and it takes time to learn the skills. So I think that if you're the type who's a dabbler, or the type who's obsessive, then just being aware of the fact that nothing's going to happen really, really, really fast, because it's just not humanly, not naturally possible. Just being aware of that and being aware of the fact that everybody who's successful in terms of skills goes through a process like this, where they learn one skill, they make some money, they learn another skill, they make some money, they learn another skill, they make more money. Just being aware of that will make you realize that you should not quit. So, for example, if you're a dabbler, right? So you're here and you are making progress, right? You're learning a skill. You see a little bit of an obstacle, and instead of quitting and just stopping immediately, you can say to yourself, okay, I'm in the mastery curve and I'm right here. And if I just keep at it, I will master this skill, and I'll do better. And then there's going to be another obstacle. I'm going to go down a little bit, but I'm going to master that as well, and I'll keep going up. I think that if you keep that in mind, and the first time that you try something and you see that things are not as simple, as easy as you thought, and there has been an obstacle, if you remember the mastery curve and say, that's okay, I'm right here, and if I just keep going, I will go up again. if you just remember that and have the picture of the maybe I'll send you this curve and then you can print it out and put it by your computer. If you keep that in mind, you might not quit, right? You might not go down here and quit. And same thing goes with the obsessive, right? You might not go crazy and feel like you must make it work. You must make the $5,000, $10,000 a month right now, or else, because you'll know you're on your way. Now, this is actually this is actually interesting. I'd like to know what you think. Do you think that if you print this out and you put it by your computer, then the next time that you try something, you'll say to yourself, okay, I'm just here and I just have to keep going and I'll learn more and I'll go up again? Let's see. So we've got a perhaps. Thank you for being honest with me, Yoshi. We've got yes. Yes, that would be a great idea. We've got a lot of yeses. Okay, good. All right, so I'll send it to you, okay, the mastery curve. I'm going to send it to you. You can print it and you can put it by your computer. And hopefully that will help you next time that you start a new strategy. Now, I didn't write this down. I really should have written this down, but I'm going to repeat what I said before. This is assuming that you have a method that works, you have somebody you can trust who will help you with that method, because it's a little bit hard to do it on your own. And if you're working with somebody who can bring you, even like they don't even have to bring you here. If they could just bring you to the next level, then that's very important to get some kind of feedback. So I do highly recommend that, and I do also talk about this in my previous Q&A session that I did. And by the way, people who watched that Q&A session just went out and made money, so it's worth watching that one. I'm really hoping that this will help people in a different way. Now, another thing that I want to point out is that this curve here is in terms of skills. So what that means is that you have 0 skills here, and then you learn a skill, and you learn another skill, and you learn another skill, you're always going up. But if you think about the actual experiences that you will go through as an internet marketer, and I'm kind of sorry to break that to you, it kind of looks like this. Have you seen this graph before, this meme, whatever it's called, right? People think that success looks like this, but it really looks like this. And that is very, very true. This is in terms of skills, what kind of skills you're learning, but this is in terms of your experiences, and there will be ups and there will be downs. And there are always ups and downs for me too, and for everybody any entrepreneur, anybody who wants to, earn money independently, not by getting a job. There are going to be ups and downs if you want to work for yourself and make money, but the positive side is that it does end up being, this arrow, it does end up being high up, and you do succeed. You just have to overcome obstacles, and that's part of it. If you see something that's not working for you, if you see, and it's going to happen like you see here, right? Not everything works out as planned. If you see something that's not working for you, then just say, okay, this is an obstacle and I'm going to work it out. Look at it as a challenge. Don't look at it as a problem. So if so many things have happened to me, right? I used to do this is my success also, right? Started out, I did a little bit of freelancing, and then I figured out a way to make quick money with Google AdWords back in the day. And then suddenly that stopped working, and then I figured out a really cool trick on SEO to rank really well, and then that stopped working, and I figured it out, and I went on, I kept going, and I never really gave up. Um, Also, when I learned new things, right, new methods, they didn't always work for me right away. I had to learn a lot. And the example that I give almost all the time, and some of you are probably tired of hearing it, is when I got to the point where I realized that I should be doing webinars. I was petrified of doing them, and my first webinar was not so good. I made a lot of mistakes. I actually Actually, when I got on the webinar, I kicked everybody out of the webinar by accident. I gave people the wrong link. I made a lot of mistakes, so I had these downs, but then I kept going and I learned how to get these up. So expect obstacles and just see them as challenges that need to be overcome, and you will, if you just follow a method, as I said, that's proven to work, and you have somebody to guide you, then you will get there. And when you see a challenge, know that it is something that is normal. It happens to everybody. I mean, the most successful people have had serious challenges, and the reason why they're successful is because they figured out how to overcome it. And you need to understand that it's very normal when you're starting with something new that it doesn't work right away, and you need to have somebody that you can ask for help so that you can overcome challenges. And always remember that this is the curve, this is the mastery curve, and this is what you need to expect when you are working on your online marketing skills, on your making money online.